Good morning, evening, or afternoon, everybody. It's Kaghoe coming at you with another video. So today I wanted to take the time to discuss a topic that has been raging throughout the Classic community, and that is, should we have TBC Fresh servers? Now, Sam Medina made a video first talking about it and said why we must have them, and then Hammerdance replied while we must not have them, and so people have been up in arms about it. Quite a few people have asked me my opinion on it, so I figured why not, let's give you guys that opinion. So I like to break it down first into pros and cons. So let's talk about the pros of having TBC Fresh servers. So I think the idea of TBC Fresh servers would be very, very attractive to those that are not currently playing Anniversary but really wanted to do TBC. Anniversary, there has been an insane amount of hype before Anniversary launched. Like, tons of people really just wanted TBC Fresh servers. Like, TBC was what people wanted. We got a turbo Anniversary, so we got through Classic in a year into TBC. That was the plan. That is what they announced. And I think a lot of people, like, they're literally calling Anniversary just TBC waiting room. That's a popular phrase that I hear all over everywhere. And there's been a lot of love and appreciation for TBC as of late. So I really think that people who aren't actively playing Anniversary and they're like, yeah, we just did this recently with SOD, or even 5 years ago with 2019, or SOM, like, we've done Classic so many times. You can only do Molten Core, BWL, AQ, Next Ramus so many times before you start to go a little crazy. But I really think that to people who aren't doing Anniversary right now, a TBC Fresh server is very, very attractive. And then we have the next point of, obviously, fresh hype. Everybody loves fresh servers and fresh hype and just going out there. There's something about everybody starting at the same time, everybody being on the same playing field, everybody at that equal point. And then however much time you put into it is how far ahead you get, relatively speaking, obviously. Some people can throw way more time at it, like me. And some people can't, but for the most part, everyone is on an equal playing field for those days. And, you know, they've been doing Thursday releases, so you take Friday off and you just know life an entire weekend away, and you can have a lot of fun in doing that. And it'll be at TBC, which is huge, because if they did it, I think they would do it at TBC pre-patch, where we have like a month or whatever to get ready for TBC. And that gives you Blood Elf and Draenei, and they're not at a massive disadvantage for once. Like, normally every time you want to be a Blood Elf and Draenei, you gotta restart. Leveling a Paladin to get to Nax is a massive feat. Leveling a Shaman to get to Nax is a massive feat. And then going into TBC as a Blood Elf or Draenei is pretty hard to do. Like, leveling is still no joke in TBC. It is less than what it is 1 to 60. There's a massive XP reduction, but it's still a lot of effort to hit level 60 in that week or two or a month that you have for Blood Elf and Draenei. So Blood Elf and Draenei being there and having both Shaman and Paladin on the Horde and Alliance are really awesome pros, and I think it'd be fun to do all of that for once with everyone. We've never really had so much TBC hype before, as well as a fresh server, so it would be cool to see. And then finally, we have the new economy. So having a fresh economy into TBC is actually really, really important compared to other iterations of the game, because most casters will tell you this. Their pre-BIS for Phase 4 and most of their BIS gear is from tailoring, and those tailoring cloths, like the I forget the Spellweave and Shadow Weave and Moonweave cloths. Those are really, really powerful gear that you are crafting and you use for all of Phase 4. So, and even into Phase 5 in some circumstances. And so the people that have, like, people that want to play Mage and Warlock, which are a lot, those are very popular in TBC. Like, Mage, Warlock, and Hunter are probably the 3 most popular classes for TBC. Those like the cloth that you need to make those, if people know that's coming, so on Anniversary they'll level a ton of what you call profession bots. It does require them to be level 60 to get the TBC stuff, so people will just turn all their ults into it. In original TBC at 2020 launch or 2021 launch, whenever it launched, I had like 7 like I literally dropped professions on all of my characters, so every single character had tailoring, and I went into TBC with like 6 bots to make all the spell cloth, to make all the moon cloth, to make all of those cloths, and make all my gear, as well as make an enormous amount of profit. So very specific situations like that, and TBC is probably the most guilty, other than Classic, where those cooldowns are very, very important. Alchemy has really big cooldowns as well, and we also see really big cooldowns for other professions. So it's very important where a new economy and not having all those alts ready to go and stacked up to make all that cloth is in play, and it's just something to be aware of, and something that might be way more attractive to a fresh server and a lot of people than going on the current one. Now, those are all the positives of a fresh server, in my opinion. Let's talk about the cons. So, the con is that it would possibly split the player base even more. And what do I mean by that? Well, right now we have Hardcore, Anniversary, Season of Discovery, Era Hardcore, and Cataclysm/Mob. So we already have that big split. Do we even need another one? And it's like, yes, people would be playing TBC, but is there enough people to play TBC to make that work? And what does it say to the people that are already playing Anniversary? Like, what was the point of them? Was their time wasted if more people go to the fresh server or not? I feel like it would attract more people personally. As I said, like, I think it'll be very attractive to the people who did not play Anniversary or not playing currently, quit very early on, and they would go to that fresh server, and those are people that probably wouldn't. Obviously, I don't know this, but I think those are people that probably wouldn't want to go on the Anniversary server already. So it could attract and bring in more players, and at the end of the day, that is very important, and what matters most to Blizzard as a company is what gets the most players. Another con is that, as we always see with every fresh server, it is flooded with bots and gold sellers and gold buyers, and that is never a good thing. Because the market is untapped and untainted, you can make an enormous amount of gold by playing certain markets and going after certain prices and going after certain materials. And bots obviously can play 24/7 and can get those level points. And then obviously, as long as people are buying gold, which they are, gold sellers are going to exist and continue to sell, because why would you, and the problem with that I can make a whole video talking about that, because it's a never-ending fight, and it really sucks. And we saw, to the extent of that on Anniversary and Classic and Black Lotus being such a choke point, that flasks were almost 500 in gold, and that is hours and hours, that is 12 hours of farming. If you don't have a mage farming ZG or ZF, that is insane amounts of farming to require for someone to play the game, and you really, really hate to see that. And hopefully something like that is avoided if we got a different server, but you really, truly never know when it comes to this. So it's, just a lot to go into it, and a lot of question marks on it being flooded with bots and gold sellers. Then another con is it really could just die off very, very rapidly, because there's no structure there, not a lot of people. If it does not pop off and not a lot of people go there, it could die off, as we saw with the Sky server for Wrath of the Lich King. That one died really, really quickly. I personally didn't play that one because I was in an established guild with established people on an established server, so we just continued to go forward. They even offered free transfers off when Wrath hype was at its max, and you had to wait 12 hours to get into a queue on Faralina. It was kind of crazy, but that only lasted a few weeks. Everyone either transferred off or quit the game, so it was what it was, and pretty interesting to see. That was the only example we have of the Fresh project, and people like to point to that for why we shouldn't have TBC Fresh servers, and it's I don't know. I feel like this time is different because so many people really wanted TBC, and TBC Hype, and TBC Fresh, and TBC, as I mentioned, is super impactful for a Fresh server because of all the cooldowns and economy and professions and all of those things that are so integral into TBC that aren't as important in Wrath of the Lich King. And then, obviously, the big question is there enough players and interest to go to this server? And that is the golden question. And I genuinely don't know. I see so many people talk about Fresh and want Fresh, and then I see so many people talk the other way that don't want Fresh. And it is just really, really hard to make any definite conclusion on if Fresh servers would be a success or not at this time, and it's hard to say, and I don't know. I wish Blizzard would honestly put out a poll and just let people vote. Like give it the OSRS treatment. Like, would you play Fresh server or do you want current anniversary servers? Could they even do something like Fresh server, and if it dies and fails, we'll give you a transfer to the main servers, whether it's PvE or PvP? Because we have one PvE and one PvP for anniversary, and then they could just give us one PvE and one PvP for the Fresh servers, and you could pick and go to where you want, and then if those servers die, you get put it over to the other PvP server. I think that would be the best solution to this problem. It would allow people to go into it and, make what they think is the best choice for them and their guilds and their communities. And then going forward, you have that safety net. So, like, even if it fails, you can go here. And then we have 2 PvP servers and 2 PvE servers for everyone to play on, which, if, there's enough people, it might be really, really good. Then, to me, personally, like, I would pick Fresh because I think it is the logical choice for anyone not playing Anniversary now. I do have a level 60 mage on Anniversary. I just kind of gave up on Anniversary. It just felt terrible after saw it personally. I have an analogy, but it's not really appropriate to say here. I've said it many times on stream, but as well as it's great for the community to say, hey guys, let's all go here. Let's start playing together. And that is just something that is really rare in WoW. And that great reset and everyone being at that equal point, having your entire community, everyone join, everyone playing together, everyone's leveling, everyone's grinding dungeons. That's something that is super exclusive to Classic. And I think it's why people love Fresh hype and Fresh servers so much, is because everyone's there at the same point. Everyone's essentially equal, and everyone's playing together and doing dungeons and having a good time in Discord. And just, it's truly special. So for me, I'm on Team Fresh side, but slightly, I'm not like an absolutist. I'll go whatever we get. I plan on playing TBC to some degree, and I'll play either or. But if I had to pick, I would be Team Fresh. So anyway, guys, I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this, and definitely comment down below. And until next time, I'll see you later. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Hey, you. Yes, you. Are you still there? Well, I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this entire video and making it to the end here. If you enjoyed this video, definitely check out the other videos about World of Warcraft listed in these playlists down below. And thank you again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.